now quickly go to the stakeholder group, and here we have Jayatee Choudhury, from class 12 at Birla Balika Vidyapeeth. So after listening to these presentations and the new developments in the AI, so as a student, well, how do you visualize these developments? Are you happy with the way AI is taught in school? Uh, how do you perceive the whole development as such?
After hearing this really detailed conference about AI and implementation in school education, and me being a student of artificial intelligence right now in 12th, I'll have my AI paper next year. Uh, at present, I really don't think we are implementing AI in school education the way we should. Because in school education, if we know, Indian school education system somewhere lacks in making a child inquisitive. We are subjected to books most of the time. It's starting now, the experimental part of studies, but it's still very less. And as was said in the conference, education is often the last sector to take up any new development. And that's very true. AI too will come into the education very slowly. And right now, no, not at all. If you look at other countries, the European Union legislation was just discussed. Just look at the Indian situation. I appreciate that India does take up uh, new developments. India tries, but the education sector still lacks a lot. EU has an entire legislation on AI ready, and India hasn't even started. So with this detailed conference, I feel we need to work. Plus, when we introduce AI, we were just told that AI is set to be introduced by the UNESCO at the age of 13. That is approximately 8th or ninth grade. Firstly, we need to train the kid right from maybe second or third grade in a moral way so that the kid is ready to adapt to the AI introduction when he or she is in 8th or ninth grade. And we don't do that. So first will be moral education and the second will be the AI education. The current implementation is very good, but we still need to make a lot of progress. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jayatee, for those suggestions. And actually, there is a lot of groundwork to be done before we can make AI learning really effective in our schools and colleges. Zareena will quickly go to our young participant from Birla Balika Vidyapeeth, Aaditri Saraf. Is she there? Aditri, are you there?
Yes, good evening,
Yes.
sir. I'm there.
Yes. So after listening to all this, and what are you doing with AI in school? Could you reflect on what is being done in your school?
You can first ask her if she is real Aditri or AI Aditri.
Aditri Saram.
Like when you go to a website, it asks you, are you human or a robot?
You can ask her to wave hand. I mean, that's what people are using in this section. Yeah, so
Yes.
it's real.
Proved now that it.
So in our school, basically, we are right now learning about the computer vision and the types, like the classification, yeah, semantical segmentation, and all of the things based on NLP, MLDL, AI. I have some questions also related to these topics. Like as Dave sir talked about the humanization of AI and the digital teachers. We are really happy about the fact of the digital teachers. And as Suma ma'am also said about the lack of emotions in the AI, I am also concerned about the same thing, that how can we make sure that the digital teachers would be successful in providing the emotional support to the students, and can the humanoids have the same empathy as humans have? And along with that, I also am pondering about one more thing, that can India implement social indexing considering the great diversity in India, and if so, how can it be? So these two questions
Yes, I think initially they will answer and then Dr. Ramesh Sharma will.
Fantastic questions. Thanks a lot for bringing them up. So let me just start with something I may have touched on when I was speaking. So I was at CogX yesterday again, UK's biggest AI conference, and the number one area of focus for AI leaders from across the world is humanization of AI. What that essentially means is we are at the beginning of this curve. Same for us, very early days, same for other people. So we're at the beginning of the curve. And, as you would imagine, and as you can see with technologies like AI, the growth is very fast. So where we will reach, I don't know. But this is an area of focus for all big organizations. Having said that, having said that, 2 points to remember. I'll just start with a startup from India only, Bangalore, right? One of the big names of early AI and early apps in the mental health and well-being spaces was Visa, which came out of Bangalore. So they've been working in the mental health space, etc., by making a chatbot that is reasonably human-like, and they are pretty successful. So this sort of work has been done for a very long time, just like ChatGPT or GPT wasn't the first language model, it just broke the internet. Similarly, it has been going on for a long time. We are continuing to work at it, but I don't see the end is, near, or we can see the end yet. Thank you.
Okay, Aditri, about the indexing thing. If China can do it, India can do it. In terms of, you said that India is a very big country. China is also a big country. In fact, very recently, we just crossed them in terms of population. So that is doable. And regarding about emotional aspect, I think I want to attract your attention about a news which came last year, where Google had to fire one of its employee because the employee conducted an interview, and it was found that the chatbot, in fact, their Lambda system, which they created as the most powerful conversational agent, they did not make it public for use per se. They focused more on Bard and like Llama and other things they are coming up. But the studies were there that already there were signs that the software is sentient in nature. When we say sentient in nature, it means that it can feel the emotions and it can express the emotions. And already at a very rudimentary level, in even Chat GPT can snub us. Even if you ask some of the funny kind of questions, the response can be like that. Because see what is happening here. As we say, let us understand the artificial intelligence in its rudimentary thing. First, in terms of classification, you have the narrow AI, then general AI, and super AI. These are the three classification systems. So narrow AI, you already have seen so many examples, like Alexa, Siri, these things. And then the general AI, like the Star Wars HAL computer and those things. We are yet to reach to this stage of super AI. But already there are algorithms where the companies, they have shut down some of the projects, including Google, in which the software is creating the code. Nowadays, means because the machine learning is that thing. We involved unsupervised learning in terms of AI when we call it that, whether there. So if it is unsupervised, it means nobody is controlling the system. The system is doing something on its own, certainly. And already there are, if you go to GitHub, there are already some experiments in which there are the camera captures our expressions, and not only the facial expressions, even our full body. Like in the movies, we see the players or others, the movement, it happens then. And you should wait. Elon Musk, the most richest person on earth, already coming up with Neuralink, and the chip is saying that going to fit into the brain of the people. Already HCI, human computer interface, or brain computer interface, it is already in the advanced stage. So 2 years ago, I gave a presentation on BCI, brain computer interface, and you all know about Hogwarts Hat, that Harry Potter series. one researcher at MIT already created a hat which says that I have that image in one of my presentation, you can make a Google search on that, that if you wear it, that hat can analyze your thoughts. It can predict what you are thinking. So situation is going to be very, very dangerous.
Thanks, Dr. Ramesh. Jayatee, do you want to ask?
Yes, I have two questions. May I ask?
Yes, very fast. Yeah.
So the first question is, Ramesh sir had told us about the European Union legislation regarding artificial intelligence. What I want to ask is, India still doesn't have a structured AI legislation. When we do implement the AI legislation, is it going to be almost the same as the European legislation, or will the difference in Indian society affect the Indian legislation? Second question to Anil sir. Anil sir had said that we currently don't have an ecosystem that favors open source policies. So how are we supposed to create that kind of an ecosystem? And sir has also used the term technologically neutral. So what does that mean?
Okay, Jayatee, first of all, I hope you know about DPDP.
No, sir, I don't.
That is very recently the government of India has approved. It is called as Digital Personal Data Protection Law, DPDP in short. You can make a search on that. The talk was going on for the data protection law for quite some time, for a few years, but I think last month or last to last month, it has been enacted now. So it is digital, the personal data protection there. So it has been put in place, and one of the purpose is to regulate the unauthorized access and distribution of data. And the applications of AI, they are very fast in capturing the data, processing the data, and sharing and distributing, because anything which goes on the server, it is never deleted from there. No company, even whatever they will say, Facebook, you uploaded an image and then deleted it thinking that you have deleted it, it is never deleted. Once it reaches the servers, it stays there forever, because the companies, they try to, they use it for their analytics work like that. So, but what EU has done, few factors may be common to our country and EU, but it will not be, it cannot be in toto as such, because we have our own socio-economic, political, situation here. But I mean, EU has been very stringent. They took strong actions. In fact, they were the first one, and particularly after the Cambridge Analytica fiasco by Facebook, they were the first one to call the Facebook people, and then after that they had to mend their so many things about it. So it's matter of that who takes the lead and does what. But anyway, we have the some guidelines now available, that what other countries they have done, and on the basis of that, we will be already the AI policies are there on the government of India on, and for the blockchain, AI, quantum missions, these things they are in. So as soon as we start implementing in them the things, the concerns, the issues, we will note them, and definitely it will help us in smoothing those loose areas. Okay.
Yes, Dr. Anil Nair.
Yeah, I'll take the second part of her question first, the tech neutral aspect of it. So the idea is that law should not be targeting any particular technology. Okay, so if we target a particular technology, then that technology gets stifled, and something else, some other rival technology will take place, and it's very difficult to change the law, because you need the parliament to meet, the bill to be presented, discussions to happen. So it's always better to address an issue rather than a particular technology. So that is why the law necessarily has to be technology neutral. That is the idea. Okay. I did not get the first part of it.
Sir, the first part of the question, I had taken up one of your statements when you said that Indian ecosystem is not currently favorable for open source policies. I wanted an explanation on that.
No, the idea is that we need large numbers of users for any technology, any product to be actually taken and accepted by the masses. Our problem is that so look at for example any program, any app that is given by an established player. There is constantly updates happening. That means they are continuously working on the product, and that incremental cost is spread over the entire user base. So the larger the number of users, the better that ability of the company to respond to the immediate changes. The ecosystem, in the sense that a software, suppose you are installing a software in your phone, the changes that happen to any other app is also going to adversely affect the way your app operates. So you need to continuously tweak it. So everybody is in the process of continuously improving their service, and which prompts you to continuously monitor and use your app also. When it is an open source software, what happens is that unless there is a company, a commercial entity backing it up, there is nobody to work on it. It's all voluntary work. Understood? So sometimes the app crashes, then it is left to you as a user to find an alternative solution to that. So unless everybody is improving, continuously working on the mechanism of that open source product, it becomes impossible. So it is one thing to have a policy as such. Without an ecosystem that supports that policy, it's no use. I'll put it in a perspective. I use Microsoft Word. Word crashes much often. Right now I've shut down my computer and I'm on this because my laptop has crashed when it took Teams. It was working earlier perfectly. In between also it worked. So how do I come back? I don't have the expertise to work on it right now. I am waiting for a response, the ecosystem to provide me a response. So the vendor is having an interest in continuously keeping me in that ecosystem. But if I am sourcing it from open sourceware and there is no vendor as such, vendor support as such, then it becomes very difficult for me to sustain myself in that particular ecosystem. So when the government says a policy, then the government must also create an ecosystem which allows for that particular policy to sustain itself. It must have adequate vendors in that area, users in that area, and it must give some tax incentives or anything, any material support, budgetary support for the purpose of continuously using that ecosystem. Right now, we don't have that kind of a system in place. So we are dependent upon the capitalist world to provide the services most often. This is what I was meaning with respect to the lack of an ecosystem in place. Now it's a problem because on one side we need the open source, because open source provides that transparency which is not necessarily available because you have this intellectual property. If I am a private entrepreneur and I'm working on something, I don't want somebody else to use that. So one of the problems associated with the generative boards is that they are using the material which is actually intellectual property of a lot of people without properly acknowledging it, without properly giving back to that particular from where they have taken that resources. And it is a machine. It jumps over multiple pages, every available resource on the net, and then it is making use of that resource base and providing a private profit without acknowledging one and providing a share of the profit which they are earning by using some other person's resources. So these are all problems associated with the policy as such. We don't have a definite legal framework which recognizes all these and provides for equal or equitable sharing of these resources. That is where I said no, ecosystem is not there as of now.
Yes.
Okay.